Hi guys, we're here at Humphrey Park railway station in Stretford, Manchester, just on the border of Stretford and Urmston, and just going to do a video on the train station here about the history of the place, what it's like now and what events have happened at the station. So you might think, well, why is it named Humphrey Park? Well, Humphrey de Trafford, who was around from 1808 to 1886, was the owner of the Trafford Park estate. Because he was the owner of the estate, this area around this local area here is called Humphrey Park. There is a park over in the distance over there, but I think it was just named after him. So I'll just talk you through the place so you can see. This is Chatsworth Road, goes all the way down to Lostock towards Stretford that way, and that way is towards Urmston. This is a local high school, it's Lostock Secondary School. It's been here for some time. This is the approach to the station, and there's an underpass that goes to the other side, and there's trains to Manchester that way, and Liverpool goes that way. So let's have a look here. Just go down this path here. It's, oh, there used to be garages here, but some years ago, must have been 20 years ago or something, they removed them all. So they just have the path that goes to nowhere. But there was a set of garages along there at one point. It was used for the houses over here. So we have got a shelter where they used to have a ticket machine, but now there's nothing. Probably due to vandalism, we removed it. We got the notices, but no one don't want to walk on there because of the network map, train times, useful information. But you can find all this online these days. This is a Amazon parcel area. It's not even used. You can see it's broken, so that's great, wonderful. Sign about don't trespass on the railway because of the £1,000 fine, and they didn't used to have these fences here. They're in bad condition, but years ago there was nothing. You could just go across, which caused some problems, which I'll talk about shortly. So we just go up here, let's have a look. So at least I put a gate on here to stop people running up and making a mischief of themselves. Talk about penalty about having a ticket. You can get your ticket online these days, and it's run by Northern Rail. Let's have a look. So we've got Samaritans. That's useful if you're feeling a bit low, because this is there has been a few accidents here in the past. The local rail network. So try and work out where we are here. There's Piccadilly. We're Stretford Park, Humphrey Park, there we go, down there. So we've got Urmston, the next stop, and Trafford Park, and then you can go all the way into Manchester, and this will take you through to Liverpool. So Manchester's that way, and Liverpool is down there. Okay, so we're on the Manchester side, and to visit the websites you need to know. Okay, there used to be somewhere to sit here, but it's now gone, and they've got a tannoy system. Last time I was here it wasn't very good. It's someone speaking through a tin can. So they put some nice pictures to brighten the place up rather than having graffiti, which is good. So we'll just go all the way down here. It's about keeping back from the platform edge. You want to stay away here. I'm just going to walk on the left hand side. Yeah, so Humphrey Park railway station is in the Stretford borough, Greater Manchester, northwest of England, and I'll put a map on where we are. The station opened in the 15th of October 1984 by British Rail, because that's who it was then run by at the time, as an experimental station, and is 4¼ miles from Manchester Oxford Road, down there. Yeah, and this is the Manchester to Liverpool line, and all these services calling it are operated by Northern Trains these days. There's no station building, no ticket machines, and is unstaffed, as you've seen. The CCTV cameras operating here, and each platform has waiting shelters with seating available on the Liverpool side. Over there, yeah. A payphone was available, but lack of use and repeated vandalism, as you've seen, when we rented the place. It was removed in 2020. And there's step-free access available for both platforms via the ramps, and the station running information can be obtained from the timetable posters and by phone or the website, Northern Rail website. Services are every 2 hours in each direction towards Urmston and Liverpool's Lime Street, and the Stretford Park station is down there. That's the next stop. It goes towards Manchester Oxford Road. And its half-hourly increase at peak times. It may stop at extra stations en route. In the late evening, services are hourly, and there's no Sunday service provided. So that if you want to catch a train on the Sunday, you'll have to go to Urmston station, because nothing's going to stop here. They'll just go straight through. So you'll be wasting your time just standing over here, because nothing's going to happen, unfortunately. So this coming towards the end of the platform. Let's have a look. What we got over here? Not too sure what this do. I think they put an extension on this some time back. I'm sure they did. Not too sure why, because they don't get the trains. The trains that stop here are the smaller ones. Anyway, yeah. So I used to live nearby, and my brother had a house over here for a while. I wonder if it's still. I think they cleaned it up. There used to be a load of litter there. So people used to chuck the litter over for some unknown reason. It was a right mess. Never mind. Okay, well, so we talked about Humphrey de Stretford and about the brief history of the Humphrey Park station. The main problems of this being it's not manned is that there can be issues with accidents and people suicides and stuff like that here. I mean, when I was having a look online about the brief history of the place, I mean, going back to 98, there was a young person who was killed by a train near Humphrey Park station. There was a female aged 17 at the time. She was hit by a Liverpool to Manchester train. The circumstances were unclear, and the reports say she left a note, and the police who investigated said the death was not suspicious. So that would have been here at some point. And then again in 1998 April this time, there was a pupil at Lostock High School, which is just local, just showing you, and they were playing on the line with a friend, and they were struck by an intercity train, And just a few weeks earlier, the pupil at the Selby Road School had received a lecture highlighting the dangers of playing near to the railway tracks. Alerted by the driver of the Norwich to Liverpool Express reporting having hit a person, paramedics and police arrived at the scene that evening to find a body lying close to the platform of the station. The person that was hit, the kid, was a larger-than-life character, chirpy and bubbly personality. He was popular and a great way about him. He was the life and soul of the school and would be greatly missed, it said at the school. Many of his classmates visited the scene of the death and were accompanied by teachers to lay floral tributes and leave poignant messages. The school had a special service after Easter at All Saints Church. The church is just down Barton Road. It's only about half a mile away. Had a service at Easter, and the prefects, actors and counsellors at the school helped the younger kids to get over the problem, because obviously he was only 12 at the time when he got hit, unfortunately. I mean, at the time when it happened in '98, this area was very open planned with the railings. They weren't there, so you could just jump across if someone didn't want to take the underpass. You know what kids are like, they'll go and do that. And a local councillor had spoken with the residents about the concerns and the accessibility and the danger of the station. And the councillor, he was Justine Williams at the time, was chairman of government's Lostock School and lived just nearby, and said it's no secret that children often play on these lines and that parents have expressed their concern in the past. Yeah, so at least they did something. Even if you put a little fence in there, that's better than nothing. And it has stopped kids from playing on it. And especially having CCTV, that also helps. Other issues on the station here, there was a man died back in November 15th, 2008. He lied down on the railway tracks at Humphrey Park station, Stretford, at about 11:30 p.m. at night. The train driver said he made out a figure on the Liverpool to Manchester line and applied his emergency brakes. After he was identified, the officers went to the man's house and found a note that said, "Sorry mum, love always." The magistrate court heard in the inquest that how he suffered manic depression and anxiety, and the result he turned to recreational drugs. He got into a relationship that apparently ended badly, and that's when he was lived away, and he returned to Manchester broken hearted. So it's obviously that had an effect on him, unfortunately. In November 9th 2020, there was a man that died on the railway line between Humphrey Park and Stretford Park on the Monday. Inquest heard into his death. He heard that the 36-year-old struggled again with mental health through his adult life. The Safeguarding Board told the inquest that there was no one person or agency coordinating the support or care. This meant he did not have one single point of contact to help him understand and navigate the services being offered to him, the inquester said. On the day he died, he wasn't registered as living at an address and had been staying in friends in the Stockport area, the coroner said. Within the Prevention of Future Death report, that the lack of coordination between agencies became particularly concerning when his mental health declined, making him more erratic and difficult to contact. This already left stretched services to do what they could to pull information together from their own resources and conversations with other agencies. Without proper coordination, there was no full information sharing, joint assessment or joint planning of his support, which meant there was never a full appreciation of the risk he posed to himself, and no real care plan was in place to manage that risk. Without a clear pathway for agencies to jointly assess and coordinate care in the case of adults with complex mental health and social care needs, they were concerned that the future deaths will occur. The Safeguarding Board spoke to a man's mother as part of its review, and she's struggling to come to terms with some death and feel angry because she felt that he didn't get the support he needed to his mental health, the report read. She said she felt like different agencies didn't talk to each other, which isn't surprising because they still don't do that these days, do they? Also felt that professionals judged him, and he didn't see him as a person who struggled in his mental health, who loved his children, but as a drug abuser with a criminal history. I always knew my son would never get old and he would take his own life. It was a matter of when. Someone should have helped him, his mother said. They have addressed her report to the Greater Manchester Health and Social Care Partnership, as well as the Secretary of State for Health and Social Care. His sister said, "We, the family, understood that he was failed, but to hear it from many professionals is hard," she said. He's got 2 children who have grown up without his dad, which is not nice. She also paid tribute to him, and he died in November 2020. First and foremost, he was loving and devoted dad. His kids were his everything. But it was also a loving son, brother and uncle who loved all his nieces and nephews. The next one I want to talk about the tragedy of a loving and adoring dad who's 53-year-old who died after being hit by a train at 9:11 a.m. on September 14th, 2021. A kind and loving dad died after being hit by a train just hours after it was decided he didn't need to be kept in hospital, an inquest had heard. The man had a number of issues which has seen his mental health deteriorate in the months before his death. He was a passionate football fan. He lived with a debilitating back pain for years and had developed an issue with alcohol and used it to self-medicate, the hearing was told, and also been treated for anxiety and depression. Just weeks before his death, he was also disclosed an allegation he'd been victim of a sexual assault as a young man, but the police told him there would be taking no further action and unlikely to be able to help find the suspected culprit, the coroner was told. At the beginning of the 4-day inquest of his death at South Manchester Coroner's Court in Stockport on Monday, August 22, his wife described his husband, who had worked in the construction industry for many years, as a loving father and one of the hardest working people you could ever meet. He never shied away from work, he said. He was kind to a ridiculous level. He was so unmaterialistic that he could give anyone his last 5 pence. He loved and adored his children. His passion was the Bolton Wanderers football club, and his really happy memories of his family holidays and other great times. The regret and sadness is that he couldn't access the help he clearly needed, for she said her husband had suffered from back pain for as long as she had known him, and that he resulted from injuries suffered in a road accident when he was in his 20s. Something it wasn't so bad, but other times it was debilitating, she said. She said experts said he couldn't operate as the issue was close to his spine and they worried about doing further damage. He tried numerous painkillers, other treatments including injections, but the pain persisted, she said. The inquest heard that began drinking as a coping strategy and used alcohol initially to help, and the doctor looked at this and without realising it had taken a strong hold on him. In May 21, his mental health deteriorated, became very withdrawn, his wife said, and in July there was a number of episodes of him disappearing and taking alcohol. In the 1st of September, the day of being found collapsed by the police, he was told to go to hospital by his GP after telling him he felt suicidal, the inquest was told. She said her husband had previously told he wasn't involved with the police, but as a result of disclosure, the report to the GMP hospital that he was reported, the inquest heard. There seemed to be a level of relief that he'd talked and spoken to the police about it after giving the first account to an officer who visited him at the hospital. On September the 11th, the day after being charged in hospital, was told by a detective over the phone that an investigation was going to be discontinued. And the detective from Greater Manchester Police said he didn't indicate he'd ever be able to name the known offender, and given the significant period of time it had lapsed, it had been concluded there's no way tracing the male suspect, and there'd be no further lines of inquiry to follow, she said. She said he was realistic and accepting of the decision. He was admitted to the primary hospital in Altrincham And it was early in the 10-day stay in hospital he told the counsellor he'd been a victim to sexual abuse. Goes on to talk about his sexual abuse, and in July it was obvious that he was still taking drink, and the night before his death in September the 13th he'd spoken to a hospital A&E. Well, he was taken to hospital with the help of family and friends. He returned home dishevelled, agitated, and began waving a knife around and trying to leave his home in Urmston partly dressed. His family expected him to be admitted as an inpatient, but after an assessment he was allowed to return home early on September the 14th. "That's not what I was expecting," he said, after being advised earlier that he needed to be admitted. Later that morning, left the house. He's going, and his wife believes going to collect some overnight bag he left at the hospital, but he never returned. Shortly before 9 a.m. he sent his wife a message. "I never had a text with that type of language before. I was really scared," she said. He alerted the police. He was hit by a train at Humphrey Park station a short time later. The police investigator showed the inquest. Inquiry showed he entered the station 9:11 and made his way onto the tracks. There were some maintenance workers on the opposite side of the platform. Would have been over there. But they had his back to him, and their view would have been obscured, he added. He was hit by a train which was not due to stop at the station, which is on the Manchester to Liverpool line. So, would have been over there, wouldn't it? He said, "In the last second that the train approached, there was a slight movement by him, but it's hard to say his intention was at that time. His mobile phone could not be located afterwards," she added. A post-mortem concluded he died of multiple injuries consistent with a train accident, and toxicology tests showed he had a above average reading, and he also had some drug which was prescribed, not excessive, unfortunately. There was another person that suffered life-threatening injuries after being hit by a train in Greater Manchester on 8 a.m. June the 23rd, 23. A spokesman for the British Transport Police said officers were called to the Humphrey Park station at 8:02 on the 26th of June following reports of a casualty on the tracks. The paramedics also attended, and the person was taken to a local hospital with life-threatening injuries. And the incident is not being treated as suspicious. So I think they must have been too close to the line, and were hit then, unfortunately. Yeah, just want to, after all that business about people taking their lives and accidents and all kinds of stuff happened here on an unmanned station, which, I mean, does happen because there's no one here to monitor them, are they? I mean, people need help, and unfortunately they're not getting it, and they're coming here as the final moments of despair, which is really sad. But just want to talk about, if you have help and suicidal thoughts and you feel like you want to harm yourself, it's important actually to tell someone. Help and support are available if you need it. You don't need to struggle with different things alone. You need to phone the helpline, please. These are free helplines, and they're to help you when you're feeling down and desperate. Unless it says so otherwise, they're open 24 hours a day, every day of the year. So take it to your advantage. Use it. You can also call these helplines for advice if you're worried about someone else. And I'll put a link in my YouTube channel description. Well, there's a cat crossing the track there. Naughty cat. And you can talk, but the best thing to do basically is really talk to someone you can trust, like a family or a friend, and let them know what's going on. And maybe you'll offer support and help. And it's also just good to talk to someone. There's no right or wrong way to talk about suicidal feelings. The starting the conversation is the most important part. And there's another cat crossing the track there, a black one. What's going on with these cats? I just think it's a motorway for cats. Anyway, the tips with coping. Try not to think about the future, just focus on getting through the day. Stay away from drugs and alcohol. Get yourself to a safe place like a friend's house. Be around other people. Do something which you enjoy, like spending time with a pet, a hobby. And if you're worried about someone, try to get them to talk to you. Ask open-ended questions like, how do you feel about such and such? Don't worry about having answers. Just listening to what someone says and say and taking it seriously will help, honestly. So do that. I mean, in my job, I'm a mental health first aider with my company, and I'll listen to anyone with problems. I'm not a counsellor, but you can understand what people sometimes are going through. Okay. So anyway, let's have a look at the rest of the station and go back to having a look. At least we got a help point over there, and we got one here, so that's good. Yeah, I remember when they didn't have a fence here. You could just nip straight across, which wasn't good, and that's how they had that accident with the kid at the school. Go across them. The subway's not too good. I mean, it keeps getting vandalised. But that's what happens when there's no one around, isn't there? At least I've got a life-saving defibrillator. Poster here. More information here. Train times, February. This is the side of the train you take to Liverpool. Don't forget, have you paid? To open this up. Look, at least there's a seating area here. See what that is. Been all this time here, and there's been no trains go through. So you get a massive area at the back here, don't you? Nothing there at all. Look down to the end. You can see in the distance over there to Manchester city centre. They built all those high-rise block of flats with all apartments, which are mostly empty. And then we've got Kellogg's in the distance there from the near Stretford Park area. Nice. Yep. So this is Humphrey Park in February when it's freezing. Hands are freezing. Never mind. I was just hoping there'd be a train coming through, but there ain't. No. Not to worry. You can see in the distance where the green light is, there is the M60 motorway. It goes over there. You can just see a couple of cars going the distance. No, we can't see. Okay, anyways then. So this is Humphrey Park for you. I hope you enjoyed the history of the place. We're talking about it and what's happened on the platform. Normally it's quiet, and I think around last year around about 19,000 commuters used it the whole year, which isn't that much, is it really? But it does get used because there is a large community around here, quite a few residential houses, so it is needed. And it's also very useful when you want to go to Manchester city centre, if you don't want to catch the bus, because the Metrolink station's about a mile walk from here and it's not on this line. Okay then, well, I'll catch you later. Thanks very much. Bye.